Alrighty, recap, bit of an outlook actually into this week. So EU, we have come up. Let me get out of the replay. We've come up and taken a major inducement. So this did break through a 4 hour low, but it was quite obviously an inducement given that it came into nothing, kind of just took the low and pushed. So I'm expecting us to go bullish. Now we've taken a major inducement, even on the daily. If you have a little look see, we are in a valid point that did take liquidity. It took retest actually too. So major inducement into a mitigation, expecting some type of response. Okay, straight down to the 15-minute, we can kind of work with what we're going through already. We've had a push and we've started to get that bearish price action. So this is really clean to start looking for sells. So yes, we've had that really big inducement into this mitigation area here. But if you look at the manipulation here, yes, through this kind of broke through that point here, and you've got that take of liquidity. This could be enough to push this back up. I'm not expecting it to, but it definitely can. So had that mitigation, which is quite clean. And now we've had that first break of structure. So now we kind of need to find out, is this a break or is it not? So this will tell us basically what the goal is. If this breaks to the high, we can then look for breaks in here and buys in here and sells up here. So we can kind of work in both directions of the market. If price wants to use this as an inducement and start to make its way down, we've got really, really good price action to work with. So if this kind of comes back into this area here, I would more or less think that we would kind of get that smart money trap reaction and push. We have come into the retest of this area, but we did actually mitigate this break here. So very, very 50-50 where we're at, which is good because then we can kind of get the start of the new structure cycle nice and early into the week. In terms of lower time frame targets, we have got this area of manipulation that sits at the bottom area of this point here. So we can be looking to head to that. We also have got a bunch of liquidity sitting in here, and we've got a valid point that hasn't been mitigated all the way down here. So we've got some really good lower end targets. You've got so many valid points. So if we can, what I'm kind of hoping for, because it'd be nice to go the other way. Obviously, with all the news that's coming out at the moment, I'm expecting market open to be quite aggressive in one direction. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of just gap to the downside or gap to the upside. So expect for market open, London Open, and New York Open to bring some interesting shit. I would say Monday will be a no trading day anyway. But if we can go bearish, which I would rather, we've got lots of liquidity targets, a lot of open institutional areas to use. So we get this break here, we are absolutely on for buys and sells. And we could create something like this and have a really good week again. So prices, I think, is the best it's been in 6 to 8 months. So really, really clean on EU. Hopefully we can use both sides of the market. If we do kind of just break and push up, like I said, we've got area of demand. You've also got this as an area to kind of use here as well. So opportunity for buys and sells, which is quite clean. And you've also got this point up here unmitigated as well, which did lead to a break to the downside. So quite nice. Now, in terms of GU, we've obviously had the same type of situation, major inducement that's actually led to a medium inducement. So really good reversal high time frame type moves, which means that kind of makes me feel even nicer about the whole sells idea. If we jump on the daily, we are in a point as well. So we're in a point here that had that two leg out, good inducement. Obviously into this area up here, but we are sitting in this area of manipulation that is a demand, sorry, a supply, so we can kind of work off that. So down to the 15-minute, we have just taken liquidity, broke, retested, and pushed. So this has confirmed to me sells, or at least given us the idea for sells. We have got realistically the break and the area of supply is this here. So given that we have mitigated here and at the same time on EU, we've taken an inducement, I don't mind sells. Sells actually look really clean. So yes, this is very complex pullbacky at the moment, but hopefully we can kind of get that type of movement or even get a bit of an inducement into that push. But I would say if price kind of, that being the internal break there, if price kind of pushes up from now on GU, I don't see it reversing. So for me to sell GU, I need it to respect this point. Okay, I kind of need this. Okay. Forget anything else other than that break here. I'll be looking for buyers and buyers to come take this week higher, given we have induced quite nicely into the mitigation of this area. If we do continue for sells, like I said, we prefer sells if that can be the case. We've got lots of liquidity built up to the downside. We've got a valid point here, a valid point here, but more or less, I'm actually more interested in this point to the downside here. Okay. So the open will give us all the information we need to see. GU hasn't had enough downside movement for me to be confirmed on sells yet, but we have had this slight inkling that that could be happening with the internal break and retest. But we'll see what open does. So in for a good week, and we'll kind of go from there.